Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Time to look at the Galaxy S24 Plus once again. Now, believe it or not, this is actually the front camera on the Galaxy S24 Plus. I decided to vlog this way, just like I have a viewfinder, and not use the rear because the front cameras are actually that good. I do have an external microphone hooked up, but that's just because I'm sitting in an area where it will be kind of echoey. But the microphones on this will do well. You just can put it into pro mode and you can adjust pro video, and you can adjust the gains on the microphone, but still might pick up a little bit of echo. But for now, we're going to roll with the external microphones. So this phone is a phone that, man, I think so many people overlooked for the Galaxy S24 Ultra. I've made plenty of videos on this phone why you should probably grab this instead of the Galaxy S24 Ultra. But here's another recap. I think I've had this phone for what is almost a year. I'm not even sure. But the phone is just that good. And so sometimes, remember back in the day, I used to use only the phones to do the review of the phones and then add a little bit of B-roll and things like that. Well, that's pretty much what I'll do today. So this phone coming in at a really good price. And if you're watching this in November of 2024, great deals on this phone. Just hit the link in the description. You can grab yours. This is a phone that you really should not ignore. There's so many things about it that are really good, but I'm starting with the camera conversation because cameras on this phone are just absolutely phenomenal. You can't go wrong with a good vlogging front camera or a perfect set of rear cameras to shoot pictures and video, and just tons of reasons that this phone stands out. The cameras though, these are pretty much the same cameras across the S24 lineup. They're missing some of the cameras from the S24 Ultra, but do you really need them? Probably not. The cameras on this phone can do 4K 60, and I'm actually shooting at 4K portrait style video right now, 4K 30. And the rear can do 4K 30 as well in portrait video, but the rear can also do 4K 60 along with the front in 4K 60. And the rear can even do 8K at 30 frames per second. So I don't really see the need to do an 8K video. No one can really watch this content yet because how many people have an 8K TV or an 8K monitor? Raise your hand in the comments. I don't think so. There's hardly any. And it's just going to be an increase in detail if you shoot video in 8K, because most people would want to. I could shoot video in 8K and scale it back down to 6K or 4K, and then you're just going to have a very crisp, very detailed video. But if you're a vlogger, that might be something that's important to you. So you can think about that. You can post 8K footage on your channel if you want to, but no one's going to be able to really watch it. Their monitor will start to stutter, or the device will start to stutter that they're using. It's just not viewable right now. So with that said, what do you think about the front camera? I'll check the viewfinder real quick. What do you think about the front camera on this particular device? I'm sitting here in the kitchen and there's a light coming down, so you probably see a little shadow, but let's walk a little bit. Whoa, that's just good quality. That's good quality. So let's walk over here. And this is just me standing right here. Yeah, now let's go outside. Oh, here we are. Yeah, here we are. So yeah, if you're a person who is going to use these cameras for vlogging, I think you're going to be really impressed. What is she doing? What you doing? What are you doing? She's doing something. Let's go back inside. And just like that, I'm sitting at the dining room table now. So vlogging with these cameras on this phone won't be an issue. And what I decided to do is I decided to go outside and leave the house, and I took this phone with me to a spot where I record videos for my car channel. And so now let's take a look at that particular footage, and you can see how it does in a really bright setting with the rear cameras, because the rear cameras, they are just, I mean, they're the cameras from the Galaxy S24 lineup. So you've got a 50 megapixel shooter. You've just got great video, and there's just no getting around it. This is why Samsung ranks so high, if you will. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. It ranks so high amongst consumers because you get a lot of phone for these prices in comparison to some other OEMs. So I say that, and I want to show you the footage that I took outside. Now, this was earlier today. It's not late in the evening, but it's about to be dark in about an hour and 20 minutes. So I wanted to get out, pull the car. I wanted to drive my Corvette also. I wanted to pull the car out and, you know, get some seat time. I'm not even at 2,900 miles actually. I'm trying to get to 3,000 miles, just get some seat time, you know, really get the car out. I got it to drive it. So, but I decided to take this phone out with me and record some footage with the rear camera, and also took lots of photos with different filters. So let's take a look at how well the rear camera does. No external microphone or anything. I just turned it on and started recording, and that was that. So let's take a look at that. All right, guys, I wanted to bring you footage from the S24 Plus. This thing is a phone that's slept on a lot, and I think it deserves a little bit more shine. I made a video already talking about I wouldn't pick a phone for phone of the year, but honestly, I had forgotten about how great this phone was, and I wanted to showcase it today. So this is another look at the oh so famous and oh so great. Oh, this thing is so great. I'm just filming one of my cars here, so I want to get out and get some footage outside, take some photos of the car, and just show you how well this camera could do. This is great. Look at how beautiful this car. That's the wide angle lens. This thing is really nice. Anyway, let's get back to the video. All right, so what did you think about that? I think the cameras on this phone are stupendous. I mean, just ridiculous quality. And for me, I like to vlog and stuff like that. I like to use the phones I buy for the channel, man. I feel like I'm wasting money if I don't at least use them to record what on the channel. And just, I have a mirrorless camera, obviously, and DSLRs, but if I'm talking about smartphones, I should be using the smartphones. And I've said this over the years, it's best to do it this way. Now, your setting won't be exactly like this. You know, you won't be able to get the exact same footage that I'm getting probably. So when you're outside, you can get really good footage. But aside from being outside doing the video, I took some photos with the different portrait filters, I took a lot of photos, but I took some with the portrait filter, and just the photos themselves, man, they just come out so clean and so crisp and so clear. You wouldn't know that they were from a smartphone. Smartphones have gotten to the point now where they're rivaling cameras, like actual cameras. This is a fact. I mean, they're just that good. So, you know, if you're a person who wants that all-in-one, you probably can pick up a lot of smartphones. I'm not going to tell you that this is the Swiss Army knife of phones. It's definitely not. But what I will tell you is that it's one of the phones out there that can kind of do it all. And I think you'll probably be impressed if you are a camera person or you want to get a phone that's going to really shine in the camera department. Now, other than photos, I mean, obviously this phone is more than just photos. I actually like the hardware on this phone. The hardware on this phone is about the same size or close to my 13 Pro Max and my Pixel 9 Pro XL, but it is thinner, lighter, way easier on the pocket. It is such a beautiful device in hand too. It's rounded on the corners, so it feels really, really strong, really good. But I'm impressed with how thin it is and how lightweight it is for a device of this size. It really is really nice. And so I think if you have this phone, like I know that if you have this phone, the consumers that have this phone, I know you're impressed with the hardware. You have to be. It's just that it's really, really good. It's such a lightweight phone in your pocket. If you're having it in your pocket, you can easily throw a case on it. I rock with the Rinky Onyx camo case on this phone when I do use it outside with a case. But ultimately, I like to see the hardware. I like to feel the hardware. And I like the brushed aluminum sides on this particular unit, man. I mean, with the color, it just looks really sweet. And so the hardware on here, overall package is complete because of the Quad HD display. Man, Samsung did it right by finally giving the Plus phone, and I know why they probably didn't do it sooner, because it would pull people away from the Ultra version. It would make you say to yourself, why do I need to buy this Ultra version? This one has a Quad HD display with pretty much the same size battery. This has a 4,900 milliamp hour battery inside, and the Ultra has a 5000. So with this one being in the display a little bit smaller, you actually get much better battery. So up to you to determine what you think is great, but I think the quality on this phone is phenomenal for what it is. It produces great content. The footage looks really good. So when you're looking at it, you're looking at some of the best screen for watching movies and videos and watching your favorite YouTuber, Jay Will. You're looking at some of the best footage to view on a screen. It's just great. This is a good screen size too. It's not overly big. It's big enough though. Lots of real estate to watch a full-blown movie. It is that good. Now, aside from having some of the best cameras, having a beautiful display, having great hardware, where else does it shine? Well, it shines in software. So many people out there love Samsung software back to when it was TouchWiz. And some people that are new to Samsung have never heard of TouchWiz. And all you know is whatever Samsung calls it today, which is One UI. So I say to you, get to know your phone, because Samsung took the role, like many other companies, they took the role of BlackBerry and WebOS, where all the phones in their lineup get the same software. That's what they're doing. So you get the sidebar menu, you get a nice suite of extra things on a Samsung phone that you probably just don't have. There will have to be an app on another OEM, another piece of software. So with Samsung, I guess I used to say it was overkill, but really someone said, Jay, there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of stuff and not use it right away and then want it later, you know what I'm saying? And then you have to go try to find it or download an app for it. And so with Samsung, they do a lot of the multi-screen. Everything is just really nice on this phone for software, and it runs buttery smooth. Samsung's also been keeping their phones up to date. So you should be on the November patch, or at least the October patch. I think I'm on the November patch though for all of my Samsungs. So they've been doing a good thing with the software by keeping it updated and just keeping your phones running smooth. Even if that software patch didn't come in, my phone's still running smooth after all this time. And Samsung's guaranteeing some pretty lengthy times for people who don't switch regularly, because there are a lot of consumers out there that don't change their phones every year when Samsung brings out a new phone. And those are the targets, because I think a lot of tech creators and tech influencers, they're the ones that are, if you're a creator like me, you're buying every new phone every year. But if you're not a creator, there are some consumers out there I've seen that follow me that say, hey, Jay, I'm not a creator or an influencer, but I for sure buy like one to two. I'll buy different phones because I like tech, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be a creator or an influencer to buy 3 phones at the same time when they launch or just whatever, or keep up with every phone every year. I just know that the masses don't spend their money that way. They don't see the value in a phone. I do it obviously because the return on it for me is the phones are paid for, and then I continue to make revenue off of the phones just for the rest of the time. Like I can make the revenue back off of this phone in the first week of having it, and then after that, all the revenue is just revenue from people watching the videos. Transparency. But a regular consumer, they're not in it for that, and they don't put videos online, and they don't review their phones, and so they're invested one time and that's it. They want that phone to work. They buy insurance on it, put a case on it, they put a screen protector on it, and then they're using it until it breaks. There is a lot more people like that you would possibly imagine, folks. There's one phone people out there. They actually run the world. They're the ones that buy the one phone and keep it. I think it's crazy to see people with a Galaxy S2 or just phones that are just really old Galaxy S3s. You see them and you think, wow. But you got to wonder, what is their use case for that phone? They're probably using it more as a phone. Because I've said it a bunch of times, if I wasn't doing creation on YouTube and stuff like this, I wouldn't have all these phones. I would have the same BlackBerry probably, or the same flip phone. I just wouldn't have all these. I don't have a need for them. I will be elsewhere with it. But since I am a tech enthusiast and I do creation, I have to. The tech in me won't let a new phone come out and not buy it. Now, sometimes here later on now down my YouTube path, I don't buy as many phones. I don't import phones anymore and things like that. But Samsung's brand is a well-known brand because they post a lot of content online for infomercials and things like that. And they get the phones into influencers to post it up and say, hey, this is the best, buy it. But an area where I don't discuss very much as we shift back in here, I don't talk about network very much. Because it depends on, now I live unlocked. So all of my phones are unlocked. So I'm buying the unlocked models so I can switch between carriers if I want to. And I, in fact, have used this phone on all of my carriers that I have. I've used it on Visible. I've used it on Verizon. I've used it on Google Fi. I've used it on T-Mobile. I don't have all these anymore, but I currently just have Visible and Google Fi. I have I have several Visible lines, and I have Google Fi because I've had Google Fi since it was Project Fi, and I've just had it since it launched, and I just won't get rid of it because honestly, sometimes they have some of the best deals. I got my Galaxy S24 Ultra from them, as a matter of fact, for $650. And that's no trade-in. They were just offering it to me for that price, and I jumped on it. Why not? Unlocked. I'm not stuck with Google Fi. $650 is a great deal. So this phone, I believe, though, it was such a good deal at launch. I think I walked into Best Buy and bought this one because I just couldn't get the combination that I wanted. But yeah, the getting these phones at good deals, get them on the network that you're on, and you'll get even better deals. So if you're willing to finance it on your carrier, you're going to get the best deal ever because you don't have to come out of pocket for the full amount, and you can pay monthly for it. I never used to recommend. I didn't like recommending that back in the day, but I see where our world is, and you deserve a treat every now and then. You deserve a splurge every now and then. So if you can pay full cost for it, do it. If you can get a deal or something with a trade-in, you don't want to bill on a cell phone. But if you just have to, respectfully, do it on the carrier of your choice. That way you can get the best deal. Now, they do lock you in and give you monthly credits most times, but it's worth it to a person who has no intentions on switching, and you get a great phone at a great price. Even though 2 more iterations will come out by the time you're finished paying for that phone, you're not that buyer anyway. You just wanted a hot phone at the time that can last you for the next 7-10 years. Who knows? Now, last thing I want to talk about is battery life. Now, here's where this phone really shines over the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Z Fold. All of my Galaxies don't have battery like this phone here. And then also this phone shines battery over other OEMs as well. So it's up to you to determine what you think is good battery. But I think going 4 to 5 days with a phone on a charge is actually pretty decent. None of my other Samsungs can go 4 days. I don't think any of them gone for it. If I put it on battery saving, they probably could, but I don't feel the need to use battery saving on this phone, like the ultra battery saving or extreme battery saver. I don't see the reason to use that on this phone. I think this phone flows perfectly throughout a week, and you'll charge it by, you start your week at Sunday, by Wednesday or Thursday, you should be ready to charge depending on how you're using your phone. Now that's my use case scenario because I put a poll up on my channel and I said, hey, how do you keep your phone when you're not using it? And strangely, oddly enough, some people went straight to, I don't have anything to hide, so I keep it face up. That's not the purpose of that. I keep my phone face down for less screen time. And so this is why I can get some phones to go 2 days. And some other people say, I barely got a day. Give your phone a break. Give your phone a break. Give that screen time a rest. And so personally, you can't see it, but my Z Fold is face down right here on the table, and my iPhone is face down over there. I don't want the screen on time. I don't want to be distracted. I want to continue on watching TV or talking to family or just whatever I'm doing, driving. I don't want that much screen on time. Because I do content creation, I want the least amount of screen on time and distractions as possible. And I have a smartwatch. I have several smartwatches, but this is my Galaxy Watch Ultra, and it is obviously hooked to my Z Fold 6. I don't want the screen on time. I don't want it. I'd rather just look at my watch if I need to. Okay, something's going on. Okay, and I just close out. If it's not a phone call coming in, it's probably not that important, especially on the weekends or just throughout the week. I try to get at least the amount of screen on time as possible. So battery life for me is important. And that should be like one of the top things on your list is the battery life. It's important to get strong battery life out of these devices. Because while I'm telling you it's cool to pay monthly for them, you definitely want to have good battery because these devices are expensive. So how do I feel about the Galaxy S24 Plus? Man, I said I'm not picking a phone of the year per se because they're all good. But this phone right here is just, I think in my top 5, there's about 30 phones. No, there's probably about 10 phones, 5 to 10 phones in my top 5 because some of them are tied. Does that make sense? this phone is definitely way up there on the top 5 because it's so good. And how could you not like it? If you like the Ultra, I think you'll love this phone because while this doesn't have a pen that goes inside of it, it can do regular pen support with the ones that are just, they're not a special pen for any phone. I use one myself. It can work on iPhones, Android. It can work on any capacitive screen. A capacitive stylus is something that you should invest in if you have a smartphone today. Most pens, now you can get a writing pen if it's a good brand with the capacitive portion on the other end of the pen. It's up to you to decide. Anyway, it's your man Jay. What do you think about the Galaxy S24 Plus? It recorded this entire video minus the B-roll, but it recorded all of this footage, and I think it's great. I think this phone will live on unless the S25 Plus, if they make that. I will probably trade this in for that just to keep the train going. If they make that and it's great, I'm going to get it. But if it's something that doesn't come to fruition, is just not there, I'll just keep this one right here and continue to create with it and follow up with the 2-year review or something like that. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.